Look, Duncan, we're on the internet.
What's that?
I don't know. I think it's a number of small boxes connected together with wire, and there's some lenses in the boxes, and you can use it like a sort of multi-angled periscope. That's what I understood the internet to be.
Yes, me too. And it's all part of that Y2K conspiracy, or something, or whatever.
And sometimes when you look in the boxes, there's pictures of naked ladies.
Ooh.
Ooh. You can order pizza on it. You can order pizza on the internet. You can go into the box, go give me a pizza, and it'll bounce around, and it'll come to Domino's, and then a pizza will come to your house.
And one time, pepperoni. Oh, what a day that was.
Well, hello everyone. I wonder who we put off with that opening salvo of nonsense, but
yes.
But there you go.
Space lobsters.
Yes, space lobsters and their pepperoni.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching The Fugitive from 19. My little brother used to say 1919-1, 1919-2.
Very good.
Because he's a moron. No, he wasn't. He's a little boy. He's a very clever boy, actually. And he doesn't watch this, crucially.
Right.
This is another Die Hard adjacent film.
Is it?
Yeah, it was co-written by Jeb Stewart, who co-wrote Die Hard in its final form. So I found out today. I didn't know that. He wrote it with David Toohey, who wrote he's the mastermind behind the Riddick films and numerous other things.
Mastermind.
Yeah, and not two words I would apply to the Riddick films at all, really.
No.
Have you watched those, just out of interest? Have you
watched
any of them?
I haven't.
None of them, not even Pitch Black? Nothing?
Yes, no, sorry. I've seen parts. Pitch Black is one of those films that always I seem to catch at a certain point in it on TV, but it always just looked like it was filmed in a sort of in a tunnel somewhere. And it was like with the N64 when it would just be fog.
It's like playing Turok.
Yeah, exactly. It's like playing Turok. So
it's quite cool. It was a cool one and done. And then they made this insanely bloated, overblown sequel that completely overestimated the appeal of the original. And it's like, Riddick is the last of the Furians, and he must blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no. Riddick was a guy with cool goggles and a knife that beat some aliens, and that is it, and stop now. Not like, he's the last of his kind, and like Judi
the
Dench
goggles are his uncle or something.
Yeah, we haven't had because they did do a third one, shockingly, because Chronicles of Riddick was a huge fiasco and lost a load of money. Yeah. They did a third one, which, as far as I can tell from looking at the third one from the outside, like, it's just a retread of the first one. The video game's supposed to be good.
You're right,
it's
yes.
called Riddick.
Yeah, Riddick. You can't spell Riddick without dick.
When I worked for Cineworld, no, you can't. You can't spell it without rye dick. When I worked at Cineworld, they had the little kind of pamphlet of what movies were on, and when that I was working there when Chronicles of Riddick came out, and I've got some 35mm some Chronicles of Riddick of all films, and it said in the pamphlet in the correct font. So a graphic designer must have made this for Cineworld. It said the Chronicles of Roddick with an O. And it wasn't just in like Arial or Times New Roman, it was in the correct prescribed font. And it was just like, how did you do that? Like someone sat and did that on purpose.
Roddick versus Robert Kopp.
Yes, indeed, the team up of the century. I mean that really that is my whole. I care that much about the Riddick films that I've come down to talking about typefaces on a pamphlet, informational pamphlet nearly 20 years ago. But there you go. So yeah, the Riddick films. David Toohey. He did another one about some people on a vacation that goes wrong. I think it was called The Vacation That Went Wrong.
The vacation that couldn't slow down.
Oh, still doing the speed jokes.
Why not?
Why not?
I haven't stopped. Thanksgiving, by the way, in the States, Rob Myers.
Oh shit, it is.
Points
yes.
out. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone who may be there.
Enjoy
we
your
care not
holidays.
for such things.
Yes, indeed. I'm afraid. Very sweetly, Americans have asked me in the past, well-meaningly, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? And it's a little bit like, think about it. Think about it.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Think about it a bit more. I'm from a different country, but it was always very well-meaning. It was never like, we did get some RC hotel guests when I worked in a hotel. I was kind of like really annoyed that we weren't doing anything. It's like, this is another country. Like, what did you expect? Like this is different. Yeah, but most times it's been like, oh, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? And it's kind of like, nothing. We don't really do anything. We drink vodka and watch The Fugitive on the internet.
Yes, yeah. You're on the body. I've got myself a nice tipple.
I saw it come out of a box. It's legit.
It did come out of a box. They usually do, but this one's especially. Well, it's supposed to be especially nice. I haven't actually tried it yet, but looking forward to it. Might do that now.
Go on. Give us tasting notes.
Okay. Hang on. Just quickly put
sexy little purse lip of Casey there.
Where does it say? It does say on it. Hang on. Right. Let's see if I'm getting what I'm getting. Oh yeah. 12 years old, aged in American oak bourbon casks.
Oh, it's a bourbon cask Scotch. Is that?
It is. Well, there's a lot of bourbon cask. They do.
I've noticed that. Yeah, it seems that sherry cask.
Sherry cask finish, but it's aged in oak bourbon cask. Well, it's very nice. I do like a Glenmorangie, but normally I just go for the 10-year-old. But that's I push the boat out.
That's, why not? Why not?
Vouchers that I needed to spend. So yeah, here we are.
I've got a feeling my nectar points might go that way.
Oh.
I'm about the £25 mark. It's staying in my hand.
This is this is the time of year to be doing it, isn't it? Because all the deals.
Black Friday's been a bit shit. The Steam sale came up. I was looking at the games. The games I can buy, they'll keep me entertained over because we're essentially remaining in lockdown, except you can see your nan every third Tuesday if there's a full moon and you have green shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking nonsense.
Indecipherable garbage.
Yeah. So I went on some cheap games to keep me entertained.
Erica.
There's just a lot sitting around. Yeah, I don't have a PlayStation, man. I told you I'd have it already. I'd have done every variety of killing or not killing you, saving you.
Bumming of Blake. That's an unlockable.
It's DLC. They got you back in with the green screen. A man in a morph suit's going to bum you, and then we can change him to any character. Man covered in tennis balls.
What?
Wait, what?
Huh? Not for real. No, they have to do it for real. Where are you from? Here and there.
That's right. You're from everywhere. Just a big green condom, which presumably is how they would do that for Greece. This is what a horrible image. Because then you would just have this kind of expanding anus, which would be used. Well, look, this is the part we said. You could have stopped me at any point.
I'm stopping you now.
Not that, like, that does suggest it's like, well, it's your job to stop me from saying these things rather than me exercising any self-control whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Duncan must control me.
Victim blaming.
Victim blaming. I'm gonna see about. I am still going to see about my bro's PS4 actually, so I can play Erica at some point. Also, we can play Erica, and also there's other stuff. I'd quite like to play the Spider-Man game on there. It's supposed to be quite good. But mostly Erica, because how many times do you get to play a game with your mate in it? It's not often.
No. Well, no. Unless I consider everyone in it my mate, and then I can, I guess, play it. I don't know.
Well, it's you, because normally it's just the person's voice. You know,
Yeah.
in that kind of rarefied position where it's quite unusual these days to have like live action components like that, and it's not even components. The whole game's live action, isn't it?
Yeah.
So your face is out there. Duncan's face is out there.
Mine face.
We should say that this film is on Prime Video, including your subscriptions. You don't have to buy it. So if you have Prime in the UK, you can watch the Fugitive. We think it used to be on Netflix, but the Fugitive. Do you know what? When it's one of those words, when I did the graphics for the for Social, I was like, "Is that?" I had to check that's how it's spelled. I was like, "That's a really weirdly spelled word." It's fugitive, fugitive. I didn't get that right. It's like, you did. It's just a weird word.
Yeah, there are some words on there that you turn. It's like you turn around and look at them again, and you go, "Did I? Is that? That's not how you spell that." And even though you've been writing it for some 20 odd years, you then or in our case probably longer, it still looks wrong. Like when you write something down, it can't be right. But in this era though of word processing and spell checking, you can't. There's no excuse. There really isn't.
No, absolutely not.
I won't stand.
I've done the odd kind of blunder with these things, and people kind of go like, "Ha, you spelled it wrong," and it's just you just feel like a dick, and it's like, so there's a Quibi, the thing that Jeffrey Katzenberg put loads of money into, and then it kind of failed recently. Did you know about that streaming service? It's so funny, man, because they spent billions and billions of dollars making this thing called Quibi, which you therefore should have heard of, but you haven't, because most people haven't. And it was a streaming service where they were getting like real names in to make stuff, and then like Sam Raimi directed a thing, and they broke it down into 10-minute chunks. And the idea was that you could sit and watch it on your commute, so you could watch 10-minute chunks of like this hour-and-a-half film, right? or show. And it was designed so it could be watched portrait and landscape, and you could sort of dynamically turn your phone, which is a horrible idea. Yeah. And it includes a Fugitive series, a new Fugitive series.
Okay. See,
with Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh. As Gerard, presumably.
Well, this is the thing. I don't think it's got any characters in it. Boyd Holbrook plays the fugitive, but his name's,
Jeff Fugitive.
Yeah, he's not Richard Kimball. It's like he gets framed for doing a bombing. It's like, we gotta catch that fugitive. And it's just like, well, the thing is with
Search
the fugitive,
every dog house, every in house, every outhouse, every hen house, every.
He's awfully thorough. He's very good.
Yes. Found the fish that ate him. Sorry, go.
Well, if it's just called The Fugitive and the premise is he's a fugitive, that's just a man running away from a crime. That's so broad as a remit. Like,
yeah.
You do a Terminator show, right? And it's about a robot. It's like, fine, Terminator. When it's a fugitive, it's like, it really should be about Richard Kimball and stuff. Like,
it was never a sort of anthology series. It was always quite specifically about Richard Kimball. And so have you ever seen some of the original?
The black and white one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I remember watching it as a kid. My dad seemed to like it, I think. So he didn't really like American things, but I think my dad liked The Fugitive.
Unless it was about a man on the lam. See, it's
on the lam.
I caught some of it because it's sort of doing the rounds on British TV here. It's on like UK TV Gold or something.
Yes, it is. It's on, I think it's CBS Action or something have it as well. I think it's on 2 places. But
fair enough. But it's all it's a bit like, I didn't mean nothing by it. My name's just Richard Kimball. I'm just passing through, man. Don't mind if I do, kind of thing. And it's like, it's so not like what you.
And it only ran for 3,000 episodes. Well, I'm sorry, gee, I just passed through.
My name's Richard Kimball. I mean Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean Cloyd Holberger.
Richard Wimble.
Well, shucks there, little lady. Yep, good of you, did it? It's like, come on. There's no urgency in any of it. It's just like, it doesn't seem like he's on the run.
It's that more sedate era of TV. There was the kind of 2000s or 90s one with Tim Daly. He used to be the voice of. He had a spell as the voice of Superman in the DC animated stuff.
Oh, I didn't know they revived it.
Yeah. There was that one, and because over here it was on, like, you would see it after like an episode of Smallville on a Sunday afternoon on 4 type thing. It never really held my attention. Then there's this new one, which is definitely about a man running away from a thing he didn't do, which is really the premise for quite a lot of fiction.
I mean, even in the film series, they called the sequel US Marshals because it wasn't about, presumably because it wasn't about Richard Kimball. It was exactly the same thing. It was just Wesley Snipes done a thing or didn't done a thing, and now he's being chased for doing done a thing. No, he didn't.
Because I suppose that kind of leans into the anthology thing that didn't exist. Is to have have that, but you know, I've never watched US Marshals, as I said before we went on air. I've never actually seen it, and I should have done, because I mean it speaks to how good Tommy Lee Jones's team and Joe Pantoliano and stuff, how good they all are, and that they got their own movie.
Yeah. It's I have a head meme from US Marshals, which is I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm gonna. Basically, it turns out that Robert Downey Jr. he done a bad, and he's not really a good, but he sort of pretends to be a good. Anyway, there's a bit where he kills someone in a room, but he then pretends like he got shot by someone else, and Tommy Lee Jones comes running in. It's like, what happened, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't know, man. I was just in there, and the guy started shooting, and he just ran right into it. He ran right into it, and I use that in my head anytime I do a fart surreptitiously somewhere, and some unwitting other shopper walks through it. That I go, he just ran right into it, man. Oh God, like it's just to say,
a kind of an accidental self crop dust. Really, if you laid the trap in wait for them,
laying in wait for the poor unsuspecting passerby.
But you know, imagine one day when you do it and a one-armed man is in the vicinity and you can blame him.
That's it.
That's completing.
Well, no, he would have had to have done it, but then I get blamed for it, and then I'd have to go about proving that the one-armed man done it, which means going to the store security and asking for their infrared TV camera, CCTV footage of the cloud coming out of his.
Have you seen that thing, which I'm certain is fake, that claims to be? It claims to be infrared footage of people farting.
Yeah. Why would it be fake? Don't shatter the illusion.
I'm not sure that the difference in temperature would be enough for an infrared. I really want it to be real, because it's just like it's those little black clouds, isn't it? It's like one of those old cigarette adverts where they're like. It's like a little kind of oni, like a demon. It's just
well, and also it's the fact as well. The one I saw was a fat man, and it looked like he was trying to eke it out on the sly. And it's like, nah, you got caught, Buster.
He's just eke it out on the sly.
He's like, nobody will see me do. And it's just like, and he looks like it was the perfect crime, but it wasn't.
We just lost 25 viewers.
I've
never seen a drop like that ever since we've done this in one go. In the space of a few seconds, we dropped.
Must be a Thanksgiving thing, because we have about half the people in the room that we normally do, don't we?
Yeah, I suppose it's the holidays. It doesn't make any difference to us, does it? We just blundered on through like a bunch of goddamn limey motherfuckers, which is I assume what they would call us. I don't know. But yeah, 25 people just resigned in disgust at the talk of. The talk of farts. So is it Thanksgiving today? Is today the turkey eating day?
I believe so, yeah.
Shit, it's actually today. Oh, fuck. Okay. I didn't realize. Because people saying Happy Turkey Day, I just thought it was the general holiday. I just assumed it'd be on a weekend. I don't know why. It's not. I suppose it's like Christmas. It's just whatever day it happens, is it?
Yeah. 26th.
Why not?
I suppose.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
I mean, I have brothers-in-law in the States, and I knew they were doing it at some point, but I didn't know. So.
Of course you do. Yeah, okay. Well, welcome everyone else. Welcome to the holiday. This is essentially, for America, a big part of our demographic. This is like doing it on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
It's like you go in on Christmas Day, and it's like, they're talking about fart visualizations because of infrared cameras.
Rob says it's about time to baste the turkey, so there you go.
No. Oh no. Well, I am Snorlax, asked Alexa, and Alexa says it's today. Oh, well, there you go. Come watch The Fugitive with us, Americans. Americans. Fucking hell, have a day off. You've had a stressful time, haven't you, America? Jesus. America needs a back rub. America needs just to sort of chill out for a little bit. They just had to go through this like really horrible election cycle and everything.
Yeah. It's sort of, what is it, mid-afternoon roughly there, mid to sort of early, mid-afternoon to late morning kind of thing. So can't really be expected to. If it was Christmas Day, there's no fucking way I'd sign on and listen to two idiots talk about farting and running away. So.
Well, since we look, I feel like when we have these situations whereby you're playing to a smaller, you're playing to a real core audience, it means you can get down into more specifics. And I propose to you, no, I don't propose, I've conducted research into using kind of pneumatic ballistics to transfer a fart across the room. Would you like to hear about that? No.
I don't not want to hear about it.
I'm going to tell you anyway.
No,
so like in Hawkins Bazaar, they used to sell these things, and if you imagine, it looks like a bucket, but it's got like a pistol grip on the bottom. And then there's a kind of diaphragm in it that's attached to an elastic band.
Yeah.
So you suck the air in, and if you're sat on the other side of the room, and I fire this gun from like 6 feet away, my hair would go like,
friends had one of those. Yeah. Oh, I see. So fart in that.
Yeah. So what you got? The key is you've got to draw back the diaphragm as you fart to make sure it sucks all of the goodness in, and then you can transfer it across the room. So we used to sit. It's my friends who were in a state of constant house party during the summer, years and years ago. We discovered that if you were too kind of lazy to get up, you could fart in it and then essentially fart in someone's face remotely. Weaponized guffs. Just lost another 25
36,
years.
Rich. 36.
Not getting any younger. Not getting any younger. Yeah, probably time to drink, I reckon. So, what have you been up to this week?
This week I have been mostly sitting on the arse, working. Yeah, busy. The weeks is just going way too quickly. Working and being a dad, and it's just like, yeah. But I mean, we're still in lockdown, so it's like, what do? That's it. But fortunately, working. I'd like to be out on a set somewhere, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Did you hear anything back about those self-tapes and stuff that you did? Or?
One of them, yes. One of them, annoyingly, I got I had to do recalls, and I got, it's like they said to me, "Oh, you're perfect. You're exactly like we pictured it and everything." And I said to my agent asked me how it went, and so I said that, and I said probably means I won't get it, and I didn't, because it's like it's always like that. If they go like, "You're perfect for the role," if you're getting great feedback, for some reason it means you don't get the job.
Why is that, do you think? Are they just being kind? Or because that's really unkind. It's a really unkind way of being kind.
No, I mean, because they're not. I mean, normally they're not kind or unkind. It's just they're indifferent. But I think it can be. It was an advert, it's one of those things where it's kind of like they could go back and he's got the wrong kind of, it's the director and producer might love you for it, and they might think you fit the brief perfectly, but they have to go through a layer of marketing people and whoever, and then it's or it could be for diversity reasons. I've had that before where I've actually been told we were going to give you the job, but then we realized we didn't have a diverse enough cast, so you went. And so you just have no control of it. It was one of those things where it's kind of like you realize just how distilled the audition process is even before you get in the room. You're already right for it. And, assuming you don't walk in, shit yourself and fall over, you're probably, unless that's the job, you're probably, you're probably you're good enough to do it. It's a case of just all the other shit has to align. So it's kind of like, I mean, it sucks in a way, but it's kind of like, it is what it is. You can't, it's never going to change. So drink.
Drink, yes. Oh well. We had a super chat from the mighty Wing Kong Exchange. Big time OG Val Verdean. I have to do it with one eye again. Getting in early in case I too suddenly have to do a run and keep up the good work, fellas. He says.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wing Kong Exchange. We're having these weird surges. So we just had 80 people and it dropped down to 64 real quick.
That has to be some
back
sort
at
of
60.
cock-up.
This feels. I'm not saying we're so popular people wouldn't leave. It's more that those big jumps seem weird
So
to
popular people wouldn't leave.
That's how it works, isn't it? Something like that.
A channel that was so popular that people wouldn't leave. Andrew Caput sent us £10 on PayPal, so thank you, Andrew, as always.
Thank you, Andrew, every week. God bless you. Thank you very much. I don't know what's up with that weird YouTube-ness. I'm going to say that's my perspective. Let's just say hello to everyone, shall we? We haven't done that yet. Let's say hello. Let me get the old participant window up. Adrian Mendoza.
Yeah.
Andrew K. You're Benny Legend, Doug Wanacott, Eric Granland, Floyd75, Dylan, I'm Snorlax, Josh 72456, Mr. HEC, Petter Danielson, Phil Rob, Rachel Moron, Rob Meyer, Soda Drinking Corridor Janitor, Steve Allen, The Cosmic Firestar, Winchwing Exchange, this guy Dan, Worms T17 on the official list. If you pipe up in the chat, you should appear there. Colin McLean, I see. Roy Lake, I see. Dan Lars, I see. Michael Small, John Doe, Bicolour Prawn, there he is. Kane Gord. Is Carl Goddard here? He always gets missed out. There's Otto Sump popping in. Hey. Daniel Hawkins. Gonna have to give tonight a miss, guys. Family drama. Okay, Dan, sorry to hear that. Marco Marin, Nicholas EB, Mr. HEC again. Dan Lars again. Carl Goddard. Yes, he's there. See? Not on the list. You appear on the list of participants when you speak. That's how that works. That's how that goes. Julian Y2K12. 2012 Julian.
Stephen Allen asks me. Someone else asked me a question earlier, actually, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. It was kind of flashed by. So if you remember who that was, then please ask it again, and I'll try and answer it. But Stephen Allen says, "Hey Duncan, would you ever consider doing a chat show host stint?" No, I'm not a presenter, nor am I a chat show host. It's not the same thing as acting, though pretending to like people, I suppose, is. It's not really.
It's what's held this together for 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, people often say that, I'll just start presenting. And it's like, sorry, that's not your voice, Stephen. But, it's kind of like, it's really not the same thing. I mean, some really actors are very good. Yeah, no, some actors. It works.
I think you would be. I think you've got it. I just think you doesn't. It's not for you, is it? You just don't. You're not really that bothered.
Well, you're right. Yeah, that's probably more the.
I quite like all that. I quite like that whole thing.
You're very gifted at it. Though. You're very good at that sort of stuff. You've got a real. It flows.
Smarmy cuntness.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be good. That's I enjoy it when you do the intros and stuff. I quite like some of your song intros on It Ain't Broke. You just delivered a really unexpectedly manic energy on those episodes. You could see me just going like, "Oh, I did not see that coming," which I like.
Keeps it spicy.
It keeps it spicy. Josh asked if we've been doing these since the first lockdown. We have since like the beginning of first. We were doing Clap for NHS and shit. Like it was that long ago. Like May was it?
Something like that, yeah. We were pretty quick off the mark. We've only missed, a handful of weeks, I think. Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah. A couple of weeks off. And then, I think 2 weeks off for me, 2 weeks off for you, I think. Because you had baby weeks, and then I had just, crazy weeks. And then, I think that's it, unless there was 1 or 2 here or there. It's quite a lot. I mean, it's probably, a good 25 or 30 of them. Because me and Ivan did ones in your stead when you went around, so that kind of there was still something there.
Yeah.
So
Petter says it was me, Duncan. I'm like, I can't read English. That's because I'm sat. Some listeners ago, you presented your Tom Ford fragrance of choice. Could you please refresh my memory? I need to compile my Xmas wish list. I have a very unhealthy obsession with Tom Ford aftershaves. For some reason, I keep smelling ones and going, "Oh, I really like that." And then I end up. So I've got a ton of them here. So I don't actually know which one I was.
How many do you have altogether?
10.
Blimey!
Is that a lot?
I have 3 aftershaves overall. So I just find I wear aftershave every day, and actually I find if I want to have a good day, I put aftershave on even if I'm not going out of the house, because it makes me feel like I'm ready for the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like
I just find they last so long. I would like more. My vice is trainers, as you know, and I have like 10 pairs of I have about 10 pairs of white high tops of different descriptions.
I think I'm wearing. This is what I've got on to say. Tobacco Oud is what I'm wearing today, but I don't know if that's a particularly good one.
So how much would a bottle of Tobacco Oud be, for example?
Rather expensive. Retail on those is about 174 quid each, and they're only 50ml bottles. Yeah, this is a bit more expensive than that even, but you'll like this one. Ready? Are you ready for this one?
Wait, what? Oh, straight up. No, I thought it was going to be a pun. Nope. Just fuck on the bottle. Yeah. Love it. Hey, and then Jesus.
Fucking fabulous.
Was that like a 170 quid one as well? Was that like
these are 220, I think. 220.
Blimey,
yeah, I didn't pay that. I must be a bit of a great pay.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, of course, retail price. Oh, dude, I don't pay retail price for trainers. Absolutely not. I just got some fucking new Nikes that are in a sale. No. You just got to sit and watch the sales, man. That's why I I do comfort shopping of buying myself trainers when I'm in a half. So I just end up with because I'll see them in a sale and I go like, got some nice new Adidas 3 stripes in. They're in a sale.
I buy them on eBay as well. People sell them because they're unopened, obviously in the wrapper and stuff. And yeah, people sort of trade them and that kind of thing. So.
Phil Rob's talking about my toothbrushes. Still going, by the way. Still got about half. I've got a third to half of that retail blister pack still there.
Bloody hope so too. I'll take this off again. Yeah, well, that's because you bought 100 weight of bloody toothpaste. You could sink the Bismarck.
$7.99. They were Oral B. Are you mad? I'd be mad not to buy the toothbrushes. I told you. When the end times come. Though I get through toothbrushes. I'm quite an aggressive brusher. But my dentist likes that because I don't damage my gums and it looks after my teeth quite
well. Oh, okay, fair enough. You decide to go electric.
I can't do it. As you know, because I have a problem with my jaw. I can't get it all in there. I didn't want to do the gesture because it's the gesture, the mime of toothbrush is the same as sucking dick. Yeah, it's if you seen that meme, like if you Google people coughing, it looks like a litany of people sucking invisible dicks because it's just loads of people going like that, which I've just done now and will be screenshotted for. So,
do you know what was it? Do you know the literal translation of the phrase "to ask for a blowjob" in Japanese is "eight flute"?
Is it really?
Eight flute.
Eight flute.
Eight
the literal
flute.
Translation.
Flute is in
eight flute. Oh, flute. Fruit. I think it meant fruit like pear.
No.
Okay. Good. How did you learn that?
On a podcast that I was writing a blog for today, that came up as a witty anecdote.
One of my exes is from Japan. I wish I'd known that then. It's too late now.
Just phone her up. I know it now. Eight flute.
I mean, I never had to put in formal request either.
Right. Oh, well, that's
good to, good stuff.
Intuition.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. What are we doing for time? Oh shit, we've gone over. Shit, it's time to watch The Fugitive. It's time to watch The Fugitive. Are you queued up and stuff?
Yeah, I'm getting that late. Hang on.
I shan't rush you.
I'm just gonna set me iPad up.
Too busy thinking about 8 flutes.
Yeah, an aftershave. The 8 flute and the aftershave.
Steve Allen created a Val Verde fragrance in the chat called Fartulent Skellington, which would have to come in a little barrel, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
The Val Verde
That'd be our design. This one kind of looks like a barrel. Hang on, it could come in little.
Oh yeah, it's barrel shaped.
Barrel-like, yeah.
Does that have a rude word on it?
No, it's just called Beau de Jour, which means
cunting brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, I think they all have largely pretentious names. There's Noir de Noir.
I love that they've just come out with a sweary one.
One's just called
much
London,
of a reason.
Which smells kind of like the Tube.
It's like rain and pigeon shit.
Yeah, basically. Oud Wood, fucking fabulous. What's that? Black Orchid and Grey Vetiver, because we have to assign colours to. I don't know. I don't come up with it.
Right? Yeah. No. It sounds like a shit job coming up with aftershave fragrances. Names, sorry.
We don't. God. There's always adverts before these things though.
Yeah, I know. I had one for that fucking remake. No, not the remake. It's a sequel, isn't it? The Oceans, Girl Oceans,
8.
Girl Oceans 11.
8
it is 8. Okay,
8 flute.
Girl Oceans 8 flute. Oh. George Clooney has to suck 8 dicks in Japan.
Konnichiwa.
The only way to open the vault.
Like, quickly, you distract the guards. Oh.
Steven Soderbergh makes bold choices, and that's why we love him.
What was the one?
Simulated fellatio.
Wasn't it the second one where he had Julia Roberts playing both the character and Julia Roberts
and herself, right?
Yeah,
I never watched that, but they did. Didn't Brad Pitt play him? Didn't a couple of them? I don't know. It sounded all a bit fart huffy from then on, because I really liked this first one. It's a load of fun, and the rest sounded a bit like circle jerking. It's like, no, I'm not really into
I think one of them had Pacino in, didn't it? Looking completely, because I caught some of it on TV, I think, and he just looked totally like he didn't know where he was, and he forgot his slippers or something, and he was just like, yeah, it was a bit like, oh, you're gonna steal the money. Oh, yeah. So, right, someone is. So do we need to tuck you in, Al? Because I don't think.
Is it your bedtime? Should we get that man a Dunkachino?
Yeah.
Sort him out.
Oh, my Dunkachino. That's a funny gag though. That people always, that gets totally taken out of context, and it's made out like he made a really stupid choice in the film, and it's like the punchline or the button on that thing is he turns around to Sandler and goes, "Burn this."
Because it's in an Adam Sandler film. Like, if it was a fake product, or Dunkin' Donuts weren't involved, I'd be more on board with it. But those Adam Sandler films they make their money from selling product placement. Right. So it is a good bit, because burn this. It's a good bit. But also, like, it's one of those things where it's like, look at our funny joke that isn't actually a joke because they paid us $10 million for this or whatever. And it's like,
okay, but I guess in its own, for its own sake, I think it's quite funny. But all right, yeah, you had to ruin it. But whatever, let's watch the future.
Fucking spoil sport. Right.
I don't like this film because it's sponsored by big handcuffs. The big handcuff industry.
It's sponsored by the crashing train industry and big handcuffs. And prosthetic arms.
The handcuffed man running away from train industry.
Big handcuffed man running away from trains.
I love it. Homer did it. They did it in The Simpsons as well. Anyway.
Right, yes. Let's crack on, and then there is a super chat for you.
Okay. Randall Windle official. What?
Oh, I was going to say do the super chat once we cracked on, but
sorry. Okay, yeah. Well, we can get cracking if you like, and then I'll
count me in.
Cashback.
Okay, I'm gonna do this like Tommy Lee Jones. 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Duncan, what do you make of film companies letting an actor's life affect their career, i.e. the Johnny Depp situation and other similar examples? I understand at a certain level, much as I would decry it on principle, I understand at a certain level that tarnishing something's reputation is, it's like All the Money in the World, with
Kevin Spacey and then
Kevin Spacey and then Chris Plummer. There's optics to worry about at a certain level with a certain budget, isn't there? I mean, I suppose it's like when you've got loads of money on the line, that's one thing. I don't think anyone would give two shits whether or not I said something, whatever, on the internet at the level I play at now. The danger is, I suppose, and not to get, I don't want to, really talk about cancel culture or anything, but it's kind of like I do feel especially aware of, although with drinking on the internet, it's a terrible idea. But it's like, you do feel a bit aware of what you're saying, because people can come back and find this at any time. And, if you then do go on to prominence and what have you, then people could, that could all get dredged up. I don't know. When you say, what do you make of it? I mean, I don't think anyone, it's difficult, because I don't think you can sort of argue that anyone's acting in bad faith necessarily. I mean, someone's crimes or alleged crimes aside, it's like, I don't think anyone's,
I think Johnny Depp's a quite extreme example, isn't it? Because he didn't like say anything. It's like what he's supposed to have done, and he has been living this really fucking extreme lifestyle for quite some years. Like, he loves his drugs and his booze and his music, and he's that kind of, he wants to be a rock star, so he's trashing hotel rooms and having toxic relationships and stuff, rather than someone who has, like you've mentioned, like he isn't someone who said something shitty on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah,
he's supposedly done things that's led to a criminal proceeding and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit weird because the case he lost recently was a defamation thing. It wasn't a, but then I suppose
yeah,
it
that was a
leads on
civil.
to,
It was a civil case, but then it creates a legal situation where that someone is, because that was the thing with O.J. Simpson, wasn't it? Like it was like in terms of criminal justice, he didn't do it, but in terms of civil justice, he did.
yeah,
because he lost the civil case. So it's kind of like, oh, so the jail court says you didn't do it, but the money court says you did, and then he had to pay money out to the.
yeah. It's a bit weird.
What was her name? Was it No, not Simpson. I can't remember the name of the
Maggie Simpson.
Maggie Simpson, and we know that because his dead wife's body was found pointing at the W and the S on
Wayland Smithers. Yeah, I do, dude. Let's talk about the future. I love this film so much. And
great movie, great film.
Great movie. Yeah, it's but it's just full of wonderful like moments. Cinematography, camera. I think it transcends time. I don't think this is I guess you could point to the cars and the fashion and say it's a sort of time capsule, but I think it has a real sort of Die Hardy look to it as well. I suppose I'm just because we're looking at cop car lights.
But it does. I think, but again, like we touched on last week, because of like Speed is really like this, but it's like the fonts and stuff and the text and kind of definitely the look of it and things. Because I'm not like Speed, I'll 100% say is a Val Verde movie. I wouldn't necessarily say that about this. But it's in that world of, because this is, it's more thriller than action, but it's got some insane kind of set pieces, i.e. the train and the waterfall and everything.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
It's him kind of doing procedural stuff, ducking and diving and proving his innocence and things.
Would you say this is peak Ford? I reckon this is peak Ford.
This is one of his best movies, isn't it? Like, this era, like,
I mean, Indiana Jones and all that, but it's a real. I don't know if this marked the kind of. I'd say it's certainly his peak, like when he was in his 50s in the 90s and sort of making, because he was the highest paid actor of the 1990s, wasn't he? He's the.
Oh, was he? I can believe it. I didn't know that.
And it was kind of like, but he had this sort of obviously he did Jack Ryan stuff, and he did this, and he did Get Off My Plane and all that stuff. In this era, and it was kind of like he managed to have a kind of career outside of film series, because obviously he'd done Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and it was kind of like he managed to do a load of stuff that just wasn't, they were all kind of one and dones and stuff, which was really cool.
It was good. I think because I would imagine, I don't know, that US Marshals was originally just going to be like bring him back, and he just went no or whatever as he does. No, I can't do it. That's it. You can't just say no, can you? You have to rumble first, and then mine's
six. Mine's really the 6 Days and 7 Nights Harrison Ford, which is another great one that kind of gets forgotten about, him and Anne Hesh running through the jungle. But he's so mumbly in that film. Because he's playing this kind of like drunk pilot, basically. But he's just so sort of like, he Nixons his way through that. But yeah, you can tell that the discussion with the director and the costume department or the makeup department at the start was like, I want to grow a beard. And I want 7 months to do it. And it's kind of like, right, so we've got to wait 7 months for pre-production while Harrison grows his fucking beard.
Which he then shaves off in the first act.
Yeah. I love this guy. I love all the cops they put around him, though, because they're like, you did it, didn't you?
The white-haired guy, what else is he in?
Loads
also as a cop, right?
Yeah, loads. Any like NYPD Blue type stuff. It's like he's so good in this scene, man. Harrison Ford is so good. This is a.
I've never heard anyone say I dislike The Fugitive.
No,
people never go in. Like everybody loves this film. Well, they clearly someone go, my friend Keith don't. It's like, yeah, I didn't mean it literally. Shut the fuck up. Comment sections, but it's not one that people ever complain about or sort of go in on. It got good reviews. Like I think because this my bro. Was this a 15 when it came out? My big bro would have been like 13, and he was able to go in and see it as a 15.
Right.
And I think it's maybe one of the first 15s he saw, because that and I think Die Hard with a Vengeance he went and saw, and I was really, really jealous because I couldn't see them until they came out on TV, and I was like, it was probably shit anyway. And then I watched it on TV and it was really good, and I was like, it was shit. Even though I knew it was great.
I mean, it's. Yeah, well, Tommy Lee Jones won the Oscar for this, didn't he? That was his Best Supporting Actor Oscar was for this.
Mm.
But I think it's just a. I mean, I think, I suppose it falls. It fell into that kind of, and it was certainly marketed anyway as a kind of average 90s. I mean, it was in that kind of, what else is like this? The Firm. You remember the John Grisham?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Firm with Tom Cruise, and that's kind of in that ballpark, I think. But it's just, I don't know. How do you describe the Fugitive? I mean, the great thing about it, I know they made a sequel technically, but I don't feel like it does feel like an island in its own way. I think it's such a beautifully wrapped up thing, but
but it's part of that. We seem to forget, because people like to kind of complain about remakes of things. Like the 90s, so many remakes of TV shows, particularly 60s TV shows. So there's like Maverick, there was Lost in Space, there was the Beverly Hillbillies, there was the Addams Family, there was Up Periscope, there was the Brady Bunch. I think that's like, what, 8 just off the top of my head? So that the whole, and it's such a wide, because like the Brady Bunch is one of the first ones to do it kind of ironically, like, because that was a new cast and they were kind of taking the piss out of the Brady Bunch.
Because that tended to, like, Dukes of Hazzard did that, and Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch, right. Whereas this does it like, because you can see that, if this film was never made, you could totally see in 2005 they would have done it with Sean William Scott or something. You know what I mean? But this just is so. This film is so serious. Like, it's just really, really, because it's about a man solving a murder. Like,
well, it's. I would say it's earnest. I do think it has moments of levity. There's moments in it. It allows itself the breathing room to where a situation is inherently humorous. It's humorous, but it's not like, it doesn't. It obviously takes itself quite seriously. But I love that. He had a arm. Find that man. He's so good though. Like, I take the piss, but he's so. I love this. This is such an if you want an exercise in like great acting, obviously watch Harrison Ford any day of the week. But it's like
he loves. He just did the signature.
Yeah, the pointing,
the Ford point.
It's he's great, man. Like he's up there in terms of in terms of actors I really admire, and I love his career. Like, shit, that would be nice.
Have you seen Witness, the Peter Weir film with Harrison?
Yeah,
that's a fucking great movie. I mean, that's similar
early 90s,
territory
right?
to this.
Or late 80s.
I think it's mid 80s. I think it's like 85.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's earlier than you think, that one.
Working Girl.
It's Working Girl. Yeah, he did so much good shit, man. I think, and it's not like, I think the thing is with him. I mean, it's different earlier on, but in that kind of 90s period, he never did anything. I think he's good at saying no to shit. He never did anything really truly like embarrassing or anything. It didn't feel. He's done a few duds, but it was never like.
Yeah, regarding Henry was a bit.
Yeah, it's a bit meh. People. There are people that love that film, written by J.J. Abrams. That's what starts that association.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. but yeah. The thing is, he was good in that, wasn't he? In Force Awakens.
He was amazing. I'd say it's like my favorite part of it. Yeah. That's not how the Force works. I love that.
That's so great. His deliveries, because they're fucking dude. Some of the line reads in that bloody fourth Indiana Jones film, where it's just like he's just sleepwalking through it, and it's like, I can't blame him, because they probably just fucking offered him because he's one of those people where the film doesn't happen without him.
Yeah.
So they must have just driven a fucking truckload of money up to him, because he's not that guy who like, well, I'm great friends with Stephen and George. He's just kind of like, give me loads of money or I won't do it.
I do wonder if they're going to allow stars to get to that point anymore. But I mean, obviously he was at the peak. I mean, in the 90s, it was him. It was Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and et al. And lots of other people. But and Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, but they got to a point where. And I suppose it'll always be that way, because you cannot, I wonder if the studio system will come back in a way, because it's kind of like trying to get people under license. I know that Bond actors have certain clauses, like they're not supposed to appear in other films in black tie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
which
is why, like, in the Thomas Crown Affair, he has like a white bow tie and it's undone because technically that's not black tie.
Right. Okay.
There's clauses in like the Marvel contracts. I think obviously they can't go. Well, you would think they couldn't go and play other superheroes. You do sort of see tearaways that kind of do. You get
there's the odd ones that have done DC and Marvel and things like that.
Yeah. Like, but then it's people like Lawrence Fishburne, and it's not the main cast necessarily. But although I suppose Ryan Reynolds has done it, but albeit for Fox stuff rather than
that's
Marvel.
that's like a weird. That's loads of bits of string on a corkboard, the Ryan Reynolds situation.
Yeah.
Rather than a straightforward.
Yeah. But but yeah, I mean, so but I guess this was at a time when it was kind of like you got people writing their own ticket, and it still goes on now. But I do wonder how long that's going to be allowed to continue, because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you sort of look at. It's hard to know because it's not particularly transparent, budgets of these things nowadays. But with things costing $200-300 million, how much of that is actor fees? If you tried to make the Avengers ones, everyone was out of contract, which I'm assuming they did with the most recent ones. It's like, was everyone renegotiating salaries on that? Because, god damn, maybe that's why it cost $1 billion.
I think they had to. Obviously, some of the earlier ones they had to, because I think Chris Evans was like one film out of his contract, which would have covered the first one, but not Endgame. So they had to do a thing.
Oh, no way.
I believe, and a few his and theirs. There was some weird overlappy thing, because certain other ones, like the newer ones, I suppose if you're what's her name Olsen, they'd be like, okay, so you're in for 1 million films, and if you die, your children have to do them, or whatever.
Yeah. I believe the standard clause.
Yeah, standard clause. Yeah, it's like joining Scientology. It's like the 1 billion-year contract. You're just, you're stuck in forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get the credit. See, this is a good example, because I talked about like credit creep in movies, making certain ones feel like TV, and this one is a good one because it doesn't, because it's using proper cinema language and stuff. It's not just flat shit. This is right. You don't notice it because there's a nice kind of pan around the bus, and then we get them moving into the thing. Just there's quite a nice bit of color coding here as well with the
yeah.
One of the other prisoners looks like an off-brand Jerry O'Connell, which is not a good place to be.
Well, it's great. I love as well, like, this is because it has the opportunity to be, and this is perhaps what made it such a attractive film for things like the Oscars, but it's so character driven, and that might just be because of the nature of it, but it's like every moment, it's so well crafted in that every character gets to express who they are. They're put in situations that are able to allow their character to kind of shine, right? So it's like, I mean, it's sort of without appearing cliched. So it's kind of like, he's trapped on the bus, the train's coming at them, he pulls the guy out, he does the noble thing, he makes the right choice, right? Kimball makes the right choice from the off in every situation, because you're supposed to be on his side, right? Or he at least makes the understandable choice in every scenario, so and that's important. And then Tommy Lee Jones, he's ruthless, and he's not likable, yet you're on his side too, and that's about putting the audience in that kind of juxtaposition between the two guys. You don't want him to catch him, but you also don't want him to lose, and all that kind of thing. And it's just so well thought of. Like, everyone has
the villain is barely in it and is barely a character.
Yeah.
Like, the villain is Tommy Lee Jones, but he's not the villain. He's just another good guy. And it's like, I didn't kill my wife, I don't care. Sums up that entire relationship.
Well, he's not the villain.
Well, yeah, but he no. But what I mean is, he takes the place of the villain, because he's antagonizing him. He's the one giving chase, and he's not the villain. He's a good guy. But that's what makes it interesting, because the actual villain just takes a back seat, because the real dynamic is between Kimball and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, and obviously you get that kind of twist at the end where it's kind of like it wasn't. It was the one-armed man. It wasn't, he's the guy you're kind of, but it's Jerome Crabe, or however you say his name, Jerio. This and the Living Daylights, basically. That's what he's known for. Yeah, it's kind of like they're obviously the main villains. Yeah, but again, it's like kind of Tommy Lee Jones isn't the villain, but yeah. I mean,
he's in the antagonistic role. But he's doing his job, and he's a good guy, and he's trying to catch a criminal. And like I say, like, the whole bit, I didn't kill my wife, I don't care.
Yeah,
that sums it up. And he's so fucking good. The fact that his character and that team are the ones that got a spin-off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, because they were just itching to put them in another similar scenario. But I like US Marshals. The only reason it doesn't really, it's a bit watered down is the fact that it's just really a retread of this. And it's got a very unsympathetic protagonist. Not that Wesley Snipes not good in it, but it's just a sort of clearly written just to put another person. But the problem with that is as well, though, is that he's a ex-Special Forces soldier or something. So you're kind of like, well, and then when he's doing death-defying stunts and can fight, it's a bit like, well, he's not. You don't feel quite as connected to him because it's like, well, it's almost like doing a Die Hard basically. But then Die Hard was never that. Die Hard was like, he's a cop, but he wasn't like he didn't know karate.
It's the way Die Hard went. He might, by the end, he might as well be a Special Forces soldier, but not in the movie. By the end of that series.
Right.
Yeah. Just like, well, who are you? Because I thought you were just like an ordinary cap.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, he's juggling tanks or whatever the fuck.
Look at this. It's the Homer Simpson little run with the shackles on.
Yeah. Which they've put on different versions of the artwork as him doing his run.
Right.
And it's just not a good look. Did you know that this train is still here? It's still in situ where they crashed it.
Yes.
You hear that? It's crazy. Like, you can go visit it, or at least as of a few years ago, it remains by the side of this railroad because it was done for the stunt, and they just sort of left it.
Yeah.
So you would think you would have some obligation to move the fucking train you left. But,
Presumably it was just done for a map or a background plate, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess because there's like rear projection, because I think they used a full size train for certain shots, rear projection and miniatures.
Because in US Marshals, there's a full on plane crash that goes into a river, and it's like that's a huge set piece when they're just walking around this crime scene afterwards, and there's a fucking plane in a lake, and it's like, wow, you spent bucks, man, making that. But I'm assuming that. Yeah. Speaking of planes, there's I think the plane from Thunderball is still in the sea in the Bahamas.
Oh wow! What, you can go dive it or whatever?
Probably. I think it's probably pretty fucked by now because I would have thought it's been corroded.
Yeah, it depends. There are different conditions in the Bahamas. I assume that's probably quite salinated water, so it kind of.
It's got well. The reason why it's so clear is because there's a current that goes through the whole of the island, so it is constantly being refreshed with water. So I think it's. I don't know. I think
it's quite a good area for wreck diving because those wrecks tend to stay in fairly decent nick. As far as I know. Here's a thing you may not know about me. I like shipwrecks. There you go. Never talk about that, Joe. I like shipwreck things. I like reading about shipwrecks. I like watching TV shows about shipwrecks. I like shipwreck documentaries.
There is something attractive to it. I guess it's like the whole Titanic thing as well, isn't it? It's like that's the pièce de résistance of the shipwreck.
That's kind of like it's the Man United of shipwrecks, Duncan. But yeah, no. I mean, that's a really huge one in all of that kind of stuff. Of course, I know a guy who lives in Hawaii. He has like a diving company in his Instagram. I met him when I was on holiday. His Instagram's full of him and his mates like diving shipwrecks and plane wrecks. It's like that's fucking cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I'd like to do that.
This is the 7-month beard that he insisted upon and then just shaves off.
This shot is repeated later on when someone's talking about him or something, and he just runs the exact same shot is repeated. I don't know why, because it's a bit of it's like he's been on foot now for so many hours, and it's like they just show him running, and it's like we know what him on foot looks like.
So they couldn't do the Indiana Jones thing of showing the red line on the map, could they? So
yeah. Americans are like, I don't know what being on foot looks like or feels like.
Oh man,
they're not here. It's fine. I can tell you.
Yeah, exactly. They're all off at the moment. Joe Pantoliano and his mad gamut of different hair pieces.
Yeah.
Throughout his career, because there's so many. Like, because in Midnight Run, he's just got his kind of balding head. He's got this kind of mousy one. In The Sopranos, he had an outrageous blonde wig, which was then shown to be a wig in universe later on. In The Matrix, he was just bald, which was quite good.
That's right.
I think, does he have wacky hair in The Goonies as well? Great, I love him as well. He's such a great actor.
He just disappeared off the radar, right? It seemed like when the Millennium came around, he was like, I'm done. Although he came back for the most recent Bad Boys. Only to get killed.
Oh, he did. Oh, that's good.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen those. I just know he's in all of them, and now I'm sad.
Yeah, he's great in them. He's so fucking good in those films as well.
He's like their boss, right?
But he's there like stressed out, pissed off, but like it's really good. It's really, yeah. No, he's a highlight in everything, man. Like he's always had that kind of energy, And yeah, when you look at like Midnight Run, I mean, Midnight Run's a really weird one because it feels like it could have been a 70s film. I mean, it really is. It's like,
Oh man, it's got
nowhere near.
huge 70s vibes, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really. There's like 3 sequels to Midnight Run
Are there?
with that guy, that fucking American comedian instead of Robert De Niro, and it's called like Another Midnight Run. It's those those classic American straight to video sequels that are just like, oh no, what is this?
Arlen Wayans is. It's like, no.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, not good. So the reason we're doing this, by the way, and we haven't really talked about this at all, is we very flippantly decided on Tommy Lee Jones week, didn't we? That was one of our quickest turnarounds for like what we're going to do this week.
Yeah.
I think we conquered it in 3 messages, and it was like, wallop, done, good.
Something about being grumpy, and then it was just like Tommy Lee Jones.
Then. Yeah. So we put up, if you're on Patreon, we had this, Men in Black, and
Under Siege.
Under Siege, yeah. Great actor, very scary man, like deeply scary man. I've read there was a British journalist who interviewed him, because they do these kind of press things in a hotel somewhere. Apparently he just sat there cracking walnuts with his bare hands and kind of dissecting all of her questions until she burst into tears and left. It's just like, oh, why would you do that? Don't do that. That's not nice. Why would you do that?
First-hand accounts from people who worked with him on Captain America, and
oh god, I forgot he's in that.
Yeah, because that was shot at Pinewood and Shepperton and stuff, and they the people who I was, what would it have been, on Maleficent or something? They'd worked anyway with and they were like saying that he was just like, some people said that he was a real asshole to them, some people said that he was lovely and fine, that he wasn't anything. There you go, repeated shot of him, he's running on foot. Steve Allen says woosah. Yeah, that's like, if you'd seen Bad Boys 2, which of course you haven't.
I've never seen Bad Boys 2.
Dr. Richard Kimball. I love the way he says that. That's his famous speech from this, of course, that we've just chatted all over, but him going like, search every in-house, out-house, because of the point, again, great character scene, which is that he comes into the situation, he's a US Marshal, the local sheriff or whatever is bumbling it up, and he's already trying to, you've got the guard trying to pretend like he tried to save everyone when really it was Kimball who saved everyone. You're already setting up this idea that everyone's against Kimball, even the fucking people who were there, and that actually the one person who's going to save him is the guy who is just impartial. He doesn't give a shit. He's not trying to solve the mystery. He's not trying to solve his case.
He's just an avatar of justice, isn't he? Like, he's avatar of the justice system. He's not there. He doesn't care what, his job is to bring him in, and you sort it out later. You don't just let someone run away. You need to deal with it.
Exactly. So, and that is beautifully encapsulated in that, and he comes in, he's just like, right. He's just like, puts the map out like, checkpoints, downstream, upstream, blah, 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 and he just lays it all out. And it's kind of like, that's what he
just owns it, doesn't he? He's so good at playing terrifying authority figures. Would you care to read out Michael Small's super chat?
I will. Yes.
It's a Richard and Duncan crossover super chat.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Michael Small sent £5. Michael Small sent £5, and he says, Jackson, I used to live near Hong Kong, where the rusted remains of the QE1 are still somewhere under Hong Kong Bay. It can be seen in The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, see, that's one of the Bond films where I've got a bit of a side interest, because that was a real thing. The QE1 sat kind of half in and out of that bay for years before it went under, and then in that movie, they're in their bases inside it, right? And it's that.
Yeah,
I love those sets. It's really cool.
It's so fucking cool, man. I don't know if it's Peter Lamont who made that or not, but it's like, it's everything's on the wonk, and it's just done for. There's literally on the sections. Yeah, and the sections where it's like, because the implication is that like the British government did that on purpose or something, so they could have a base next to Hong Kong.
Really unsafe base.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's literally like everything's on the piss. Everything's like and there's sections of it where it's just Bond and a guy walking through to get to M or whatever, and it's like, it's all like, there's a bar that's wonky. There's everything's designed to be pissed. So that, and that's the thing about those films. It's like whenever M goes out in the field, he takes Moneypenny with him, and she has an office. Wherever they go, there's like an office and a place for him to be, and it's just like, right.
B&M sounds great. Like it's just like, I want one on a Ferris wheel. What? I said a Ferris wheel. Get my car
in Chernobyl.
yes.
But sir, I think it's been irradiated. Not now. Chernobyl, I say. That sounds like a you problem.
Not a me problem. Whiskey, big cigar.
Yeah. Daytime drinking.
Yes, of course. The good old days. This is where he goes to get addicted to morphine. Well, I'm on the run. I'm going to take morphine. Good shape. First, look at him. He's got like abs.
Dude's in banging shape. He was in banging shape in Crystal Skull, man. If you look at Crystal Skull, he was in fucking banging shape.
True.
He's always been in banging shape.
What was it? He broke his ankle on Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, the door came down on him in the fucking Millennium Falcon.
Do you know, poor bastard didn't want to do even fucking Return of the Jedi. And then of all the things to happen, the fucking spaceship, which he probably hates, broke his ankle.
But apparently J.J. Abrams supposedly sustained the same back injury, or broke the same area of his back that I did in the car crash during that. That's how it was reported anyway. He cracked his L1. But yeah, he's in fucking rocking shape. He's got kind of Dennis Quaid's body though. I think him and Dennis Quaid kind of just trade bodies, like, and voices.
They're very similar looking guys as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't think there's many others like them, but they have that kind of handsome but gruff. I think is that fair? I think that's
kind of cattle ranch looking.
Yeah, right. Sort of old school cowboy type look.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've said this before but apparently he's just like a massive pothead, Harrison Ford. And it's one of these things where it's like, dude, if you want to have your earring and be married to Ally McBeal and just sit around smoke, you do you're 80 or whatever, fine.
Did you see that? What was the one where, did you see where David Blaine went around his house and put like a playing card in his fruit or whatever? And he was just like, he just turned around and went, "Get out of my house."
I know, because this is the thing. He does that completely he does this kind of completely unreadable face, and then he'll just say something like that. He'll just say something really absolute. He's got this awesome deadpan. Was it Craig?
What was the talk show he went on where they put Chewie in the audience?
Oh, it's like she was my wife. God damn it!
Yeah, because Chewie's just going like. It's like. What is he doing here? And it's just like he wanted to say he's sorry. It's like, you know what you did. It's just like, she was my wife. And it's just like, oh, you would say that. It's just like, it's so good. But it's like typical him. It's just like deadpan, like takes it utterly, like
so good, isn't he?
See, I love moments like that. This film is so great for that because obviously, like, the point is to make you really worried. And he's like walked out past a cop, and the cop's like, "Well, Doc," and he's like, He's like, because his fly is undone and stuff, and it's like, oh, actually that played into his favor. It's just like beautiful little things, and it's one of those things as well where it's like kind of doing the right thing gets him in trouble at points, but it also is what redeems him ultimately in most scenarios. It's like, like later on with Julianne Moore's in this, of course, lest we forget, but he's like doing the children's charts and stuff, and she's like, "Hey, you're not a real doctor," and blah, because he's pretending to be a janitor or whatever, and he saves the kid's life, even though it gets him gets him technically in trouble with her. But it's like,
because that's the great thing about him as a character, is that he can't help but be a good person. Like he wants to help, and he has his Hippocratic oath and stuff. And
exactly, that's the whole thing. Is like he's a doctor. That's much more intriguing than he was a special forces guy who got framed for a crime he didn't commit. And it's like, well, he would be the A team if he knew other people, but he doesn't. So he's now a truck driver.
The A-man.
He lives in Illinois, and he carries a gun without a license. And then he's Wesley Snipes, so he can kick higher than anyone else. And here comes Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, it's just not as compelling, whereas it's like a doctor who's on his wits, but he's also, like you say, he's got that compulsion to help and to be good. He's a good, intrinsically good person, not like ludicrously so. You know what I mean? He's not like fucking saying prayers for all the orphans, and it's just like,
but he is jeopardizing his mission by helping people. He doesn't have to. Yeah. So that's the thing. That was what he did on the TV show. He would move from town to town, getting involved in scrapes and
like the littlest hobo.
It's like, well, gee, I'm just a fugitive. I mean, no, I'm just a janitor, not a fugitive.
Hi there, my name's Dr. Richard Kimball. I'm a fugitive of the law, by golly. I mean, I'm a doctor. I mean, I'm a good Samaritan just passing through. Yeah.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. And then, but that version, he would just jump off a little step, wouldn't he? Rather than
well, I guess he got away. It suddenly become
upstream, downstream, checkpoints, and every.
It's just that scene takes fucking half an hour.
That's an episode in that era of television.
Stream down. He's got one of those weaselly, like, I don't care. The guy from, the guy in Back to the Future Part 3 is like, run for fun. Like that guy.
Oh, yes.
Weasel dude.
Oh, fuck.
Amazing.
Man. Yeah, Jane Lynch is in this as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's one of her earliest things. She talks about it. Like, apparently Harrison Ford helped cast her as well.
Yeah, it seems, and they workshop dialogue together and stuff for that scene. Like, because Jane Lynch kind of became famous to me, I suppose, in the last 10, 15 years. And I think last time I watched this, I was kind of like, oh fuck yeah! It's absolutely. Dude. The janitor from Scrubs is in this as well, and then there's an episode of Scrubs about that. Did you ever watch?
Is
Scrubs?
there? No, I did watch Scrubs. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do it. They do a thing about it. It's quite fun. They do like a fun little.
That's clearly a matte painting. I never sort of realised that. This is one of those films that I think The Big Lebowski is like this as well, where it's like it's got a cast that, and probably because of the film. So I understand it's a chicken and egg kind of argument, but it's like, a year after or a few months after this, you wouldn't have been able to get that cast into a movie because the combined cost would have been too much. You know what I mean? It's like now you've got Phil Seymour Hoffman, you've got Julianne Moore, you've got some of those people were big people at the time, but you know what I mean? It's like, and the same here. You kind of got these people who would go on to be massive and stuff like that, and it's kind of like
there's character actors that then transcended that and became stars, really. Because Philip Seymour Hoffman, because he's in Twister.
I know.
Julianne Moore ended up doing Jurassic Park, and is Julianne Moore. She's done.
She's an institution unto herself now. Pretty much. But you gotta love Julianne Moore as well. She's managed that. She and like Charlize Theron and stuff, and people like that, have really managed to like get out of the whole 20-something love interest in films and go on to play. Because it's often talked about, and it's right, that there aren't enough roles written for women of like late 20s to 50, because you're either the love interest, you're the mum, or you're the grandma. There isn't anything in between. So it's kind of like, and quite rightly that is being got rid of. People are writing roles for them, but it's kind of like they've always managed. I don't know if it's because they've had a sort of eternal youth that they've, but I don't think so. I think they've always kind of managed to kind of still do rom-coms, still do action films, still do all this sort of stuff, but they've kept it interesting. I think they've just made interesting choices. I think Julianne Moore's always made interesting choices.
I think Jodie Foster is an interesting one because she was like such a Hollywood kid, because she did all the Disney and whatever, and then her career now is very much behind the camera.
Yeah,
she's become a director, so Black Mirror and whatever, and that was her way of doing things. Whereas people similar-ish age, being Charlize Theron or Julianne Moore, are still acting, but doing like Julianne Moore did like Todd Solondz and stuff like that, and they've done interesting art housey stuff as well. They've just done something. I do not like Kingsman 1 or 2, but Kingsman 2, Julianne Moore does this really great turn as a kind of vampy Bond villain. It's really she's great. It's like this is really, you're really good in this.
My qualms with Kingsman 2 are not the actors, it's the choices. It's the artistic choices.
It's just kind of, I said it at the time, sort of, and this is coming from me.
I know,
juvenile crap.
Yes. Well, because the first one wasn't that. I mean, it was juvenile, but it wasn't shoving fingers in fannies to save the day. You know what I mean? It's like this contrivance to save the day, you've got to stick something up her fanny, and then it's like internal shots of a vagina, and you kind of go, whoa.
Well, it's just kind of childish, man. It's just kind of, but it's based on the work of a writer called Mark Millar, who has built his whole career on shock value. Like, people seem to worship him. He's a shit writer. I'm sorry. It was illustrated by Dave Gibbons, who did Watchmen.
I'm in it.
Well, the good news is Netflix bought Mark Millar's company to make things based on Mark Millar comics.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was like 4 years ago and nothing's happened. So I think that's kind of torpedoed that. So
you mean what? Yeah. You want to put a what inside their anus? It's like, yeah.
This time he puts a tracking device in 3 anuses. The top. Yeah. But it's bum fingering in the next one.
Right. Good to know.
Yeah.
So this is I like this. It's so this is the bit, right? It's always talking about I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
That's such a image as well with his hands up as always used on.
That's why you saw my graphic today, right?
Yeah.
I used that as the thing. Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't care.
But again, it's people being true to who they are. I love his reaction to that as well. I just love every moment of this. It's kind of like again, what saves them is just being who they are. You know what I mean? Like he could have gone like, okay, well, let's figure that out and I'll take you in. And he wouldn't have earned his trust, would he? He took the gamble that Richard Kimball is a good man and he's not going to kill me. You know what I mean? And in that moment, I know he says, I don't care, but it's like, you wouldn't have said that if you thought he was guilty of his crime, because then you would think he would just kill you, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, there's so many layers to just that one.
This whole scene pivots the film, informs their characters. Not really much dialogue. It's all about actions, performance, facial expression, body language.
Cash
brilliant. Quick super chat from Scar85, £2. Thank you very much. Scar85. Did you like US Marshals Wesley Snipes? We did touch on it a bit earlier. I haven't seen. Pardon me, burpy burp. I haven't seen it. Sorry, Duncan.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I as I've kind of said a few times, I do like it. I don't think it holds a candle to this, but then for the reasons I kind of said, which is that you've got a protagonist who's not, he's a special forces guy, so of course he's going to win. You know what I mean? Of course he's going to survive. And that's the problem, is it sort of has all the air sucked out of it in a lot of ways. Richard Kimball is not an ordinary man. He's a doctor, but he's certainly not equipped to deal with this kind of scenario.
My glasses!
I landed on my keys! Sorry. You just want that. You want to add. There's so many opportunities to add, like the fucking goofy, like, and all that. We've got a few PayPal donations, contributions with messages. So I should. Michael Small sent us £10. Thank you, Michael. It says, "Hey lads, in classical music Twitter this week, there was a thread going around where you had to describe your favorite opera in a silly way. So I contributed, a man what gone mad and done a murdering. So my thanks for your goofy plot summaries. Annalise can't make it this week. She's being all American, but she sends her love. Oh, bless you. Oh, and Annalise did send us some love, indeed, because she sent us $5 dues. Oh. Bless her. Says, "Hey guys, being a Yank and participating in the ritualistic mass slaughtering of poultry, so I can't make it today. But in the spirit of the holiday, very grateful for all entertainment. I think the entertainment and laughs you've provided this year. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless you. Thank you so much." We owe it. I think we owe it to Annalise to do John Wick at some point, because she really wanted us to do John Wick.
Oh, fucking well, we could pop some Keanu back on. Another cycle of Keanu things, or just do John Wick 1, 2, and 3, and then you're guaranteed to add John Wick.
Yes, and filmed a John Wick.
I need to give a shout out to Stephen Allen, because I just kind of covertly did some wish fulfillment for him. He commented this afternoon when I put the graphic up. Fingers crossed, Richard and Duncan go, "My glasses," at the damn waterfall bit.
Right.
Because so I put in my Millhouse reference for you there, Stephen Allen, because I saw your comment earlier. Why does that happen to Millhouse? Why does he end up being chased by Tommy Lee Jones? Because I can't remember exactly what leads to that.
Yeah, because he ends up in the sewer with Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, I can't remember. It's so hard to reverse engineer. Family Guy is much harder, because you remember a gag and then trying to. Where did they come from? Look up that thing. Where were they coming from?
Very good point. We're going to assume they walked up first and then down.
Yes,
again.
I guess so. But yeah, it's harder to sort of reverse engineer things, because the gags in that are so sort of like, that time when Peter said a thing, and it's like
it's very non sequitur based, isn't it? So
yes. Whereas Simpsons is less so. But yeah, I can't remember. I know it vividly. I can picture it, but I can't remember.
There's another one where they do Lord of the Flies, and they, for some reason, I think it's Bart, he takes Milhouse's inhaler and uses it like a rebreather.
That's right.
But Milhouse goes, "My inhaler, I need that to live." I need that to live. Bless him. Bless Milhouse.
That's the scene. Isn't that the scene with the guy's like, he's dead. What are you doing? Like, he's like, well, find him. He's like, it's probably fish food. But I was like, well, find me the fish that ate him. Or whatever. It's like, obviously the inference being he's that thorough. But I mean, yeah, I mean, that is ludicrous that he survived jumping off that dam.
It's absolutely insane. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But
it's one of those things where that's probably the main kind of leap that you have to take, literally, that you kind of have to accept in this. But yeah.
Yeah, well, this, I think it's, so there was this Quibi one, and I think they're kind of trading, because Jack Bauer is in the Tommy Lee Jones role. He's the hunter, and he's some kind of the hunter. Yeah, and Boyd Holbrook is accused of doing a thing and is running away from him. And it's like, okay, but it's kind of, I'm surprised it's taken them that long to have another swing at it. Actually. It's one of these things, because something like the Twilight Zone seems to get a swing every 10 years. Someone seems to have a go, and there's a few old shows they seem to every 10 years just sort of give it another crack,
Yeah. I mean, it actually occurred to me today. I was just like, oh, it'd be quite cool if they did a Fugitive series, and that's the kind of thing I'd love to work on. A lot that I'll get a fucking look in. But anyway, I'm not angry about it.
It's fine. One day we're gonna, blackmail someone, or we'll do one day. We'll use some unethical means.
I'm being a pissy little privileged shit, really, because I mean, fuck, I got to people probably out there going like, oh, I want to be in an interactive video game, or I want to do TV and stuff, so I should just shut up. But
shoot for the stars, Duncan, man. Shoot for the stars.
That's it. You might land among the dog shit in the garden. I'm kidding. I'm just joking.
Sheep and the stars sleep on a poo. It's the Val Verde
motto. But yeah, no, it would make for a great series. I mean, obviously it did originally, but it's kind of like, I remember when so I had this as of course I did, because 90s. I had this on a VCR that I taped off the TV, and there's a shot. There's a bunch of cock-ups in this that are only, I think, apparent in the TV version, because since I've watched it back, you can't see them. It must have been a pan and scan job or something, because it's like there's the bit where Kimball's walking down the train tracks into the tunnel here, I think it is, and we get a reverse shot following him, and you could see the top of the camera truck like really obviously in the bottom of the shot in my version of it, which I don't think you can.
Maybe it's like panning scan on an open map version or something like that. Like
here, that shot, right? You could see like underneath there was just this big black dolly that was like, and then it's just like obviously not there in this shot, but it's like it was.
This black rectangle represents his guilt.
It's following him down the.
Followed everywhere by a rectangle.
Look at it. Look at the rectangle. Dark and natural, baby. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's gonna. The old dye job. Do you remember the
Rudy Giuliani job?
He started melting, didn't he?
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I saw obviously.
I've seen the stills of it. Yeah, he's kind of like this
not a good look,
just coming down. I keep. Do you know what, man? Like,
I'll let him off for 9/11 though. It's fine.
I'll let him off for 9/11. Yeah.
It's all right. You can have a gooey face for that. No, I'm joking. Obviously, I'm just making light of it.
On Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving as well. I'm sorry. I apologise. It was low hanging fruit.